Starting silly season 6 months early was not on my 2024 bingo card. On February 1st, around about 9 PM New Zealand time, I read a tweet from Will Buxton. You know the one. And then I went on a 2-minute rant to my husband about why the bombshell in question would in no way, shape or form be Lewis Hamilton to Ferrari. I mean, it makes no sense. Come on now. Even if the second year of the Mercedes contract has an option favourable to him, there is no way Ferrari wants 2 number 1s in that car. Not when they've made it clear they're building the team around Charles. Stick with Sainz, have the longest ever partnership in Formula 1 history, break a record. Yes, number of seasons would have been the same as Schumacher and Barrichello, but we're talking number of Grand Prix here. They're a good lineup already. Even if there's a bit of argy-bargy every now and then, do you really want to risk it being worse? Honestly, I thought that it was going to be Perez announcing his retirement at the last possible moment and Red Bull having to scrabble around to figure out whose career they were going to ruin between Lawson and Tsunoda, because they had already promised all of that sweet Ricardo money to Visa and Cash App. And then I went to bed. About 1:30, I woke up and made the mistake of looking at my phone. Wait. You can't be serious. Is this real? I did not get much sleep after that. I drifted off around about 5-ish after constantly refreshing my news feeds, and then I was woken up by Biz getting up to go to work at about 6, and then by 7:30 I was sitting on the couch and I'd just taken my very first sip of coffee, and there it was, official. Now, I still kind of don't know how I feel about all of this, to be honest. I know there's a lot of people out there who are extremely excited because there's not really any bones about it. This is going to probably be one of the best ever Formula 1 lineups. I've had time to sit and think about why it makes a lot of sense. I mean, when you really dig into the nitty-gritty of it all, you don't just think about the emotion of it all on Hamilton's part and Ferrari kind of saying, yes, we'll take advantage of that, but it just makes a lot of sense from every single aspect, from the timing, the potential future outcomes, the marketing, the Ferrari share price. And yeah, there's certainly been clues that this is something that Lewis has been building up to and thinking about very, very seriously for the past sort of 6 to 8 months, and not just in a leverage or plan B perspective. There's also been a lot of talk about his future with Mercedes. I mean, a lot of people, including myself, thought that come the end of Lewis's career, his contract would include an ownership stake and a long-term ambassadorial role with Mercedes. So what changed? Well, I guess we can all speculate as much as we like, and we can listen to Lewis's statements as well. But there's a big reality here, and that is when you've spent such a long time with one business, there comes a point where you just ask yourself, what am I doing? You just become kind of done. I'm sure there's a lot of you out there on YouTube who have got your own channels and you're working very, very hard towards monetization so that you can potentially make this your main source of income and get out of whatever it is that you're done with. One day you just wake up and you go, this is it. I need to try something new. I can't keep going on like this. And I kind of feel like that's what happened with Lewis. There's also the fact that had Lewis seen out his 2-year contract, things could have got very, very interesting. Basically, with everything going on this year in the lead up to the 2025 season, and probably most teams wanting to lock people in for 25 and 26 and getting started on the right foot for all the new regulations coming in that second year, I think if Lewis had kind of stuck out that full 2-year term of the contract, he could potentially have been left standing without a seat in the game of musical chairs. Would Lewis have even had any worthwhile options if he'd waited? Would Mercedes have wanted to renew his contract when they refused to sign through to 2026 in the first place? Would he have ended up being forced into retirement before he was ready? Who knows? But I'm sure all of those questions and all of those potential negative outcomes would have been playing in the back of his mind. Doing it before pre-season testing also makes a whole lot of sense. And I know we're all going, holy what the... I'm trying to keep my language better because YouTube really doesn't like it when you say the F word. So I'm trying to do better at that. But yeah, doing it before pre-season testing makes a whole lot of sense. If Ferrari strung Sainz along for much longer, chances are he would have jumped ship. He's made it clear he wants his future decided prior to the 2024 season starting. He wouldn't have kept waiting. He would have known that the hold-up at Ferrari's end was because they had a better option on the cards, and I'm pretty sure he would have suspected exactly who it was. And if Lewis decided against taking the leap, say, and Mercedes caught wind of the impending potential deal and then offered him something he couldn't refuse, aka what he wanted in the first place, then Ferrari might have been left hung out to dry, because there's no way that Sainz wouldn't have gone and found something else. At the end of the day, even though Ferrari likes to talk about their teammates being equal, he is the number 2 in that partnership, and moving somewhere else to be a number 1, even if it means a little bit of a pay cut, would probably have been pretty appealing, even if it means moving away from somewhere as prestigious as Ferrari. Leclerc and Sainz, in my opinion, were the strongest driver pairing on the grid last year and for the last few years, just on balance. I'm not saying that they're the 2 best drivers, but when you look at them as a whole, from talent through to intelligence, all the way through to marketing, in my opinion, they were the best package. And from pure driving talent, I definitely, you can't say that Leclerc and Hamilton aren't going to be far and away possibly one of the best pairings that we've ever seen. However, can you really see Lewis Hamilton doing silly marketing videos and reading out shelf scripts? Can you see that? I cannot. I cannot see that. I so desperately want to get a look at that contract. Anyway. While I am looking forward to seeing the intra-team battle between Leclerc and Hamilton, I'm kind of bummed that we're never going to get to see one between Leclerc and Sainz in a potential championship winning car, because I really would have liked to have seen that. I mean, probably. It's not like both of them are at the end of their careers by any stretch. There's still a possibility they might land somewhere together in the future, but it's over. I can still have a little bit of hope, right? That's fine. Fundamentally, all of this could turn out incredible. Lewis and Charles could work together really, really well. They could have a really great dynamic. They already have a great rapport. I'm sure that they're going to push each other to be better. But it could swing the other way. It could get toxic. A power struggle that ends up with somebody throwing their toys out of the cot. And I'm not going to say that wouldn't be fun to watch. It would be fun, but I'm not sure I want to see it. But then, you know, Fred Vasseur is kind of a master of relationship building from what I've seen. And both Charles and Lewis have been his kids in the past. I think I have some faith here that it'll be the former rather than the latter. Fingers crossed. Although, should Ferrari build a championship contending car, I'm going to be really interested to see whether they prioritise Hamilton getting his 8th world title or keeping their promise to Charles and getting him his first. And the hardest part is, I want to see both. Or will they be taking points away from each other and neither of them end up with the silverware, just like what happened with Lewis and Fernando back in 2007 when Kimi beat them by 1 point. But, you know, my biggest conflict, I think, in this whole situation is the Carlos Sainz of it all. Sainz has, ever since his recruitment, been unfairly targeted by a pretty large section of the Tifosi. They've always seen him as the villain to be hated on the other side of the garage, rather than a talented and deserving driver in his own right. The only driver fandom more rabid than Charles fans are Lewis fans. And we thought that the social media war between Charles and Carlos fans was bad. You wait for the Tifosi versus Team LH. Stay off X.com is my advice. Did not say Twitter. So now Carlos is without a seat. despite doing his best to prove the doubters wrong last year and showing he deserves to be competing in top-tier machinery. And we're left with the question, where does he go? And more importantly, what's the domino effect? Here's some of the sound bites I've heard from F1 journalists and pundits over the last 2.5 days. Albon's been offered a 3-year deal with Red Bull starting 2025. Sainz has already been approached by Mercedes for a straight swap. Meanwhile, Valtteri Bottas was spotted in Brackley. Lawrence Barretto's I know for a fact that Carlos had an option at Aston Martin, hinting that Fernando Alonso is a clear frontrunner for the Merc seat. Look, Harry and George are playing table tennis, but also here's an Instagram post from George teasing Carlos. Everyone knows Sainz will go to Sauber to help prepare the Audi entry for 2026 for the regs change. Some pundits are saying Sainz is in a great position to find the right next step for him. Others are saying he's lost all his bargaining power. The list of contradictions fueled by the F1 rumour mill just goes on and on and on. So let's grab some metaphorical chess pieces and start moving them around the board, shall we? Add to the never-ending 2025 driver market prediction videos that are on YouTube, because I know you all love them so much and they get clicks. It also means that I can post it for posterity and go back and laugh at myself come September. Or at this rate, possibly come pre-season testing. Yes, this is all for fun, and yes, I realise that the moment that I upload it to YouTube and post it publicly, every single thing on this list will never happen. I am a curse. But this is for fun, and I like fun, and I like laughing at myself. So let's do this. Let's get the givens out of the way. We now know that Leclerc and Hamilton are a lock-in for Ferrari, and we already know that Piastri and Norris are a lock-in for McLaren. Oh my gosh, figuring out how to do the reveal here is a nightmare. I've got so many moving pieces. All right, how are we going to do this? Okay, I'm going to leave Ocon and Gasly at Alpine. I just don't really see where else they're going to fit in. I think it makes sense to keep them there. Let's just let the French continue to be French. Next up, in what some will probably consider an extremely controversial move, particularly considering Lawrence Barretto's comments yesterday, I'm keeping Aston Martin unchanged too. Mostly because dropping Stroll or moving Fernando gives me a headache, so I put it in the too hard basket. No, but seriously, I think this year is going to be make or break for Lance Stroll. Personally, I think he gets a harder time in the media than he actually deserves. So I'm rooting for him. I want to see him rediscover his love of racing this year, because clearly things were tough last year at some points. I want to see Lance stay on the grid, and I don't care if I'm the only F1 fan in the entire world who will say that. I do. I like him. This is my one concession to my own personal feelings. I promise. Then, considering Fernando's penchant for making ill-advised moves in the past, if he's still comfortable at Aston, I don't see him jumping ship just yet. I think he'll sign another 1+1 contract with an exit clause in favour of him. Let's be real here. As much as we all love to make cracks and jokes about Fernando racing until he's 50, I'm just not convinced that another team would sign him in 2025 and run the risk of him going, actually, you know what? I'm done, and only having him for a year. I don't see it. Not unless they just want a seat warmer, which doesn't really make sense with the regulation change coming in 2026. I don't see Fernando signing anything that's not a multi-year deal that gives him the choice of leaving and not them the choice of dropping him. That just is not an Alonso thing to do. So do I go to the second dominoes of the Merc seat and Sainz, or do we do something else here? No, I think we're just gonna go for a move that, like, I think a lot of people think is a done deal unless the person in question really hits the bed this year, and that is Daniel Ricciardo to Red Bull. I think it's pretty clear that he had a reset of his priorities and he just wants to be driving a good car and getting paid and just doing what he loves now. He's not going to be under any illusions about getting prioritized over Max. If he performs well in 2024, then Red Bull will just take the safe pair of hands and the slam dunk constructors trophy and call it a day. Yes, I'm aware there's gossip that Red Bull has offered Alex Albon a 3-year deal. If it's true, No, I don't think he will take it. There's a big difference between Ricciardo going back to Red Bull and Albon going back. Then this opens up a place at Cash Money $dollar RB. I can't. Visa Cash App RB, I can't do it. That is the first time I think I've said it out loud. Visa Cash App RB. Somehow VCarb is worse. Anyway, we'll just call them RB. I'm going to call them RB because I can't keep saying that. It's cringe-inducing. So the accepted word on that is that Red Bull has basically promised Liam Lawson a seat for 2025. You know, I hate being from Aotearoa in this specific instance because people always look at us and they go, you're just hyping them up because they're Kiwis. I'm not. He's just good. I'm not even a fan of him, to be completely honest, but I can't say that he's not good, and he does deserve the seat. Yuki Tsunoda will stay. You know, he's going to have had a, to be fair, broken up 18 months of kind of being taken under Daniel Ricciardo's wing, if you like, and he'll be hopefully ready to take on a proper team leader role at that team. So 2025 RB, Yuki Tsunoda and Liam Lawson. So where does Checo go then? Right, well, as much as I'd love to see him at Williams with Alex Albon, I'm putting him at Haas. And the guy's got 4 kids now. I'm sure he's not going to say no to a team that's based a little bit closer to home, even if they are expanding their European operations. Yes, I know, but their headquarters is still in the US. Is he better than Haas? Yeah, he's a lot better than Haas, but I don't know, it just feels like it makes sense. And whose expense? Sorry, Kevin. I genuinely do think that 2024 is Kevin Magnussen's last year in Formula One. I think that that's it. So Checo and Hulkenberg? No, not so fast. I've got other plans for Hulk. Unless things change drastically this year at Haas operationally, I do not see him wanting to stick around at all. He was getting very critical last year. To be fair, you know, now that Gunther's gone and Ao Komatsu's in charge, things could change, but he is a Haas guy through and through. He's been there for a really long time, and that culture does get ingrained a little bit. So I think that Hulkenberg is done with Haas after this year, and I do have a place for him. So who is in the other Haas seat then? That would be Ollie Behrman. I don't know if Haas's aversion to rookies is going to carry on, but the reality is Ollie Behrman has shown himself perfectly capable of getting behind the wheel of a Formula One car and going and banging out some laps. Partnering him with somebody as experienced as Checo just kind of makes sense. Ferrari's got their rookie on the grid, Checo takes him under his wing, and Haas gets the US market boost thanks to Checo's popularity in the Americas. So I've designated this as another 3 rookie season, but as I've said, one of them is not going to be on the grid at the expense of Hulkenberg. Sauber. I refuse to call them steak. So the Audi influence is going to be creeping in quite a lot by this point, and I'm sorry, Zhou Guanyu. I think 2024 is also your last season in Formula One, at least for now. I wouldn't be surprised if he were to come back in the future, but that actually really kind of pains me to say because I like him a lot, but I think that's it for now. And why not Valtteri? Hold your horses, like we'll get there. So 2025 Sauber has to be fully focused on the change to Audi come 2026, which, if they're doing their job properly, has to come with a view to the future from a developmental standpoint. There's no point in having 2 drivers in a car who aren't going to be in it the following year when that year contains major changes to the regulations and the development of the vehicle. So either Sauber's looking long-term to go Bottas and Zhou, which I don't think is the case, or they're going to be looking to shake it up. Hulkenberg is reliable, he's fast given the right car, he's experienced, and he's German. And his teammate? It's the obvious. Carlos Sainz is adaptable, fast, experienced, and connected. And based on what came out of Maranello when he first started at Ferrari, extremely hardworking. He's also well known as being a driver who's very good at providing feedback and developmental direction to the team, as much as some haters love to say otherwise. And people have been talking about this since the Audi buyout was first announced. So, like, honestly, I'm inclined to believe that where there's smoke, there's fire. I'm going to be nodding along to this one. So Sainz and Hülkenberg have been teammates before, and from what it seems like, they get along pretty well. I think a return to these two as a driver pairing makes sense for this specific team. So if no Teo Porcher at Sauber, then who's the other rookie? We've already got Ollie Behrman, and we've already got Liam Lawson. Can you count Liam Lawson as a rookie now, considering he's not allowed to do free practice sessions anymore? Like, I'm just kind of going, is he though? Yeah, good. We'll call him a rookie. I think that we're going to see Andrea Kimi Antonelli on the grid come 2025. And that sounds insane, I know. Completely bonkers. You will understand in a moment. He's on the fast track. He's skipped F3. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him at Williams, to be completely honest, come 2025, as long as he gets enough points for a super license. Sorry, Logan Sargent, but you really have to pull your finger out of your you-know-what if you want to get another contract. And I just did not see the progress last year. Like, there was not, I just feel like he didn't make much progress from the start of the season to the end of the season. There were brief moments of okayness. That point that he got was lucky, let's be honest. I just don't see him sticking around for a third year. And alongside Antonelli? No, it's not Alex Albon. I think Valtteri Bottas is going to end up back at Williams. Probably to close out his career, I'm going to be honest. He seems far more interested in living his best faux Australian life and making gin. And I support him for that. He's had plenty of years working with James Vowles, he's got the years of experience that he can pass on to a new kid on the grid, and there's something appealing about the poetic nature of coming full circle. Going back home, if you will. I'm sure you realise there's really only one name left. George Russell is a lock at Mercedes, and his teammate is going to be Alex Albon. Yes, I know, blah, 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 3-year contract, Red Bull, blah, 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 blah. That's kind of already been partially debunked. Just please don't go to Red Bull. There, that way lies pain and suffering. But then I did say the same thing about Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari about 72 hours ago. I'll be honest, look, I heard the news of Lewis's move and my first thought was Alex is going to go to Mercedes. And I am still thinking Alex is going to go to Mercedes. Could this end up being catastrophically bad? Yeah, this could be a you-know-what situation, because as everyone knows, Alex Albon and George Russell are really good friends. God, I hope they know how to park it at the door. And I don't actually think that George is very good at that. Alex probably just lets everything wash off his back. That guy is so freaking chill. I love him. But George is kind of like a very, very tightly strung violin. Do I want it to happen? Do I want to see Alex and George together at Mercedes? No, I don't. Actually, look, this video isn't about what I want to see, it's about what I think is going to happen. The answer is no. I don't want to see it. And it's not because of a potential friendship implosion, because to be completely honest, I kind of enjoyed watching what happened over the course of 2013 to 2016. If I'm being completely honest, I found it fascinating. But you know, I like Alex a lot, and I have pretty much no emotions towards Mercedes. And not a whole lot of faith. And you know what, with the impending potential mass exodus of talent from the Brackley team, also that way Alex might lie pain and suffering. So yeah, good luck with that. I'll say it again, like Alex and Checo at Williams is kind of my ideal midfield partnership of both teammates and team. I would have loved to have seen that, and if that kind of thing happens, then I'll be pretty happy with that. I will happily take the L on this video if I get to see Alex and Checo together at Williams. That would be awesome. And honestly, I thought it was kind of likely until Lewis and Ferrari dropped this massive, huge nuclear bomb that destroyed all of my 2025 thoughts, and I'm really glad that I held off making this video. So there it is, sure to be proven wrong by the time Europe wakes up in a few hours, but I'm locking it in before this Albon and Red Bull thing becomes a fact, because it inevitably will now that I've said it's ridiculous. However it all plays out, I just really hope that Carlos Sainz's future is locked in before the first cameras roll at Bahrain testing. I really would love to see if there's a difference between a Carlos Sainz who is trying to prove his worth and value to a team, and one whose primary motivation is to look out for number one.